appear arms out. Appear money them a thief. And them a sell out the beach. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy Kenyan, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch a line and a resort to crime. You can't for me again. Come me setting up all the charities and all of the giver. Some a go like say the powerful, me no make a bigger. The hundred the promises, none of them gonna deliver. Cut up the youth and rough and it's going in our river. Member bull money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them smell. When police don't have market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start and thief when them spell. They gun me. What they treat the market man. They gun me. What them a treat the cat man. They gun me. What they treat the peanut man. They gun me. What them a treat the dirt man. They gun me. What them a treat the sun man. They gun me.
Boom! I mean, I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. There. So I say, you know the code in the Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on 90 days. So I say, yeah man, to the fullest. Yeah man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch you know, feel my plan up and not try to put them money pan we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I chew the bank, I like the break, but we ain't all about the bread. We open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen pan the bed. Them one with a fall, chill living pan the edge, I must say true, who make this them. We ain't Global TV, we are 90, anointed. Who Jaja bless, say no man can curse. Give me the Range Rover, who no drive ears. Boom! We in Global TV to the fullest, one cup of excellence. See me?
Good morning and welcome to the Global TV Group. Thank you for joining us. Welcome one and all this morning if you are on the Eastern Timeline. Afternoon if you are on the Greenwich Main Time, which we are 6 hours ahead in the United Kingdom, or 5 hours ahead of some country on the Eastern Timeline. Good morning, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Good morning to my community of parity and all my family members. Good morning to all my platform membership holders, my subscribers, commenters, and live viewers, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. Let me just explain why I said Global TV Group. My previous channel, which was Forbes Legal Opinion, I'm bringing both of my broadcasting house under the one brand, Global TV. So you will see Producer Wayne Global TV, as well as you will see Global TV 358 Studios. It's still the same brand. Bring everything under the one branding. So just to keep you informed and not to confuse anyone. But thank you all for being here this morning. Your support is appreciated. This morning, I'm going to talk to you about separation of powers. I should really prepare some teaching slide on it, but I didn't get the chance to, so I'm going to try to do it out of my head, because it is a contentious area, and Nesta Morgan seemed to be rather more confused also. So we're going to talk about separation of powers this morning, and I'm going to explain to you the difference of how separation of powers within the Constitution works in the Westminster system as opposed to how it works in the republic system in the United States. Debbie Jervis, good morning and welcome. Sunshine, good morning and welcome. Natalia Freeman, Darren Daly, good morning and welcome. Annie Smith, good morning and welcome. Marcia Estee, good morning and welcome. Monica Wills, good morning. Brenda, thank you for becoming a member of Global TV. Brenda, good morning and welcome. Errol Clark, good morning and welcome. Esteem Butcher, good morning. Maxine Cummins, good morning. JP, good morning and welcome. Yvonne Johnson, good morning and welcome. Tash, good morning, good morning. Good morning and welcome. Michelle Lewis Wilson's God Gift, good morning and welcome. Diana Atkins, good morning and welcome. Tash has just become a member of Global TV. Thank you very much, Tash. Thank you very much. Lorraine Barrett, good morning and welcome. Noel Williams, good morning and welcome. Thank you all. I really, really appreciate it, Tash. Thank you very much. Now, the situation, the argument that was going around with the whole Leoda situation, I touched it not because it was the only source then was from other vloggers, which I really do not use other vloggers as source. Colleen Humphreys, OPPS official, Patricia Matthews, Claudette Robinson, good morning and welcome. Because now that the police respond to it, I have a question to ask the commish.
To be false. Thank you. Are there any other questions from the journalists on the platform? Rumors have circulated on social media alleging that Leoda Bradshaw was impregnated by a policeman at the St. Catherine lockup she is being held at. Is there any truth to these rumors?
And so we heard the allegation and immediately commissioned an investigation around it. We also removed the officer who was so accused from the station, but our investigation to this point has not shown that there's any truth to the allegation. And so far, the allegation seems to be false.
My question, John Higgins, good morning. Are you telling us the truth? What further investigation are you planning to do? Have there any medical examination carried out on the detainee? James, good morning and welcome. And why would you have moved the officer if there's nothing from your investigation that suggests that there's any proof to the assertion that was made in public? Are you really telling us the truth, Commissioner? Or will we hear further allegations down the line, or will the police be exposed down the line for lying to us? I'm just asking because I just don't trust your answer that you gave to the media. Marvery Light, good morning. I do not trust the answer you gave to the media. So that's the thing, if we continue to look out of one eye, if the narrative is going to change. Flo M, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Google Gaga hashtag too. Sorry. Carlos Gray, good morning and welcome. Well gone, bro. Mavis Gooden, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Violet Watson, good morning and welcome. For those of you who've just joined, this morning I'm going to talk to you about separation of powers. But I'm going to play two clips for you first. The Juliet one we played yesterday, and we're also going to play one, O'Neill Clark of Nesta, Confused. Misinformation, Morgan. Why? I'm sorry for our country, because you see, where a country has Sharon Pearce got itself to, especially over the last years, particularly in the last 2-3 years, there's a lack of understanding, lack of experience, lack of competency, lack of honesty and integrity that is running our government. Hence, JP, we're all over the place. When you ask them a question, a kindergarten would be able to provide you a more straightforward answer. Good morning and welcome to When Nesta Morgan Was Hungry. Because, Raymond, good morning. Them belly full now. So them can do all sort of malarkeys and monkey story with me. But good morning and welcome to When Nesta Was Hungry. Because you see from them that they have packed them gut. That's all them come for do. Pack them bag and them barrel and wait to move on. But nothing for the country. But let's listen to Juliet, then we're going to listen to Nesta. Then we get into separation of powers.
Speaker, thank you. I am seeking clarity on a couple of matters. First, you indicated that the officers would review reports from the Integrity Commission. Could you indicate who those officers are and what the purpose of the review would be before the reports are tabled? That's first. Secondly, you said annual reports would be sent to the Oversight Committee and special investigative reports before they are tabled. I'd like to understand the rationale for that, vis-a-vis other reports from the Integrity Commission, which would be sent directly to the Speaker and be tabled. My understanding of the role of the Oversight Committee is that the Oversight Committee would be outside the scope of the Oversight Committee to opine on an annual report or even a special investigative report. So I'm trying to understand what the rationale is for sending it there first before it is tabled here. Those are my questions, preliminary.
Madam Speaker, further to the questions asked by the member from Southeast St. Andrew, my understanding is that committees of Parliament act on behalf of the full House. So matters that are referred to the House, matters that comes to the House and is referred to the committee, that committee acts on behalf of the House. If the House does not know what the committee is acting on its behalf, it seems a little bit, not clear. In other words, a committee of this House, the Oversight Committee, the Integrity Oversight Committee, for example, gets a report that is sent to the House, not sent to the committee, sent to the House. The House does not know, meaning us, the members, do not know the contents of that report for which the committee will be acting on. So if you could give me some clarification on that.
Madam Speaker, just one clarification, because I understand you to be saying that the reports will go to the committee, the Oversight Committee, but the operations of this Oversight Committee is public. The media is here, so the media will be exposed to those reports even before the members here. So I just want to see if you could clarify that aspect.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In addition to the questions that are being asked, Madam Speaker, I needed a little clarity myself, to just be clear. So let's say, for example, a special report is tabled on the matter that the country is waiting to hear, the illicit six. That would come to the House and go straight to the...
On a point of order, I do not know of what you're speaking, member. It's a... I don't know, no. Please remove that comment. Please remove that comment. That comment is inappropriate, doesn't belong in the House, and is not included in any document submitted in this honorable House. Please remove your comment.
I've heard what you have said, Madam Speaker.
And Hansard, please strike the comment.
So let's say a special report comes to the House, Madam Speaker. It comes to the Speaker, as you have said, it would go directly to the Integrity Oversight Committee. The question that I'm asking is, when we had the issue with the Speaker, former Speaker of the House, the issue about conflict of interest arose. And there was a concern about individuals being on a committee who are subject of the report of the committee. I'm trying to figure out how one would be able to identify whether or not there would be any conflict of interest of the members who are part of the Oversight Committee, and how that will be dealt with. I'm also wondering...
No, I don't think I will be able, if I have so many questions at the same time, remember them all to respond. So I'm going to ask you to hold, I'm going to commence responding, and then I'll ask you to continue.
Thank you.
I'm going to answer your question first. I don't know that you have read or listened to the ruling. Reports submitted in the way you have asked are reports under Section 54. And Section 54 has those reports being tabled first in the Parliament at the soonest possible time, and then subsequently sent to committee. The rulings, as you have heard them today, is based on, let me repeat, the Act, Integrity Commission Act, the FAA Act, the Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act, the Standing Orders, and a comprehensive review of all, including the opinions submitted from the Attorney General's Chamber, the Parliamentary Legal Counsel. In respect of who will read the report, I do not recall your second two questions. I indicated to the Parliament before, and I hold that view. The officer reading the report would be the Speaker, as in the case of the lower house, or the President in the case of the upper house. The intent is not to read for any purpose more than to appreciate what it is that you are signing to be tabled in Parliament. Every single thing that is on the agenda for Parliament, every item, every question asked, every bill, every motion, every single thing that is placed on the agenda, the Speaker in the case of the lower house and the President in the case of the upper house is required to appreciate that they are placing on the agenda. So there's nothing that the Speaker or the President can do with the report. And in some cases, there are other things on the agenda that the Speaker or President have the ability to make amendments on. What is required is that, as presiding officers, we follow the law. We obey the law. Now, I will not get into the discussions about media and at what point who have. What I would like to make absolutely clear is that the standing orders and the laws guide us. And therefore, the comment I made in terms of us as a Parliament feeling that the legislation needs amendments, the standing orders need amendments, it is us who are required to do that work. The opinion I formed was a strongly formed one because it was supported in every way by the Attorney General's Chamber and the Parliamentary Council, Legal Council as well. I do not know if there are any other.
Speaker, I'd asked 3 sets of questions.
I answered the first,
right.
so I'll get to the next
I
one.
asked what is the rationale for sending the annual reports and the special investigative reports to the committee before they are tabled in the House.
You may take your seat, member. The rationale is, it is the law and the standing orders. So the rationale is obeying what the instructions are in the law for the mechanism to be used by the Parliament. I read it, so please read section 36.1. Yes, section 36.2, section 36.3, and 54. And I will also share the legal opinion. I cannot share what I have not read or appreciated. Member Hannah? Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was seeking clarity, Madam Speaker, on the section that you read, where you were saying that the Parliament could amend the rules. I'd just like you to read that section again for me so I didn't hear it correctly or properly. And I have a follow-up question once you read it.
I indicated that some of the discussions we have had underscore the need for constant assessment of the legislations with a view to amending where we as the Parliament think necessary. It is also critical for us to look at the standing orders, have the committee meet and undertake a comprehensive review of these standing orders with a view to making the suggested amendments for debate in the House and approval by the House so that it enhances the effectiveness, the efficiency of the written rules that govern us here in the Parliament and guide.
This is the very problem. People doing a job that they have no understanding. This job is a hugely legal, technical area. And if you're not able to read and understand the law, it's really not an area for you. Abinasa Cody, good morning and welcome. Good morning, Lady J. Love. Anil Gale, good morning and welcome. Lorraine Barrett, good morning and welcome. Joan Higgins. Paula Shelley, good morning and welcome. Elga Fletcher. Noel Williams, good morning and welcome. Good morning, good morning. The Easy Jerk World, manners and respect, bro. What's up, Pauline Jackson? Good morning and welcome. L-Dog, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Marcia Thomas, good morning. Rosemary Samuels, good morning, good morning. Georgia Dennis, good morning. Brownman Security, good morning and welcome. Perspective Power, good morning. Good morning. Thank you all. Michi, good morning. Al-Kabilan, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Annie Jones, good morning and welcome. Christopher, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining. Wayne Jones, good morning and welcome. A short clip of Nesta now, then we talk about separation of powers.
Works. The opinions, you will have a cursory understanding very shortly as well. The opinions of has some cursory understanding of how government works. The opinions you'll have a cursory understanding very shortly as well. The opinions of the Attorney General was requested by the Speaker of the House, not by the opposition. The legal advisor to the Parliament is the Parliamentary Council. You have absolutely no obligation, Madam Speaker, to share an opinion from the Attorney General to the government, to the opposition. You may do it because of your good nature, but you have no such obligation. You started your question by saying in light of growing public outrage. I do not see any growing public outrage. I see members of the opposition and others seeking to stoke public outrage, right, which has not been stoked. The fact of the matter is the speaker, previous speaker, acted in a particular way. The current speaker acted in a particular way. The current speaker has articulated very clearly the reasoning behind her acting in that particular way. And the other thing I want to say to you, the executive is separate from Parliament. The Minister of Information sits in the executive. The Parliament is a separate part of the governance structure. So it is very challenging for me, though I may offer an observation on a matter related to the administration and management of Parliament, as we are constantly accused by others of overstepping our limit and commenting on matters and merging the executive and the cabinet. I say that there's a separation of powers, but then on the other hand, you're asking me to opine on an era that is a separate branch of government. It's actually unfair.
Everything Nesta said was a lie, was deliberate confusion. There is a lapover in the Westminster system. There is a lapover in separation of powers. Tony Blair went the closest to kind of sort it out, but that lapover still exists. This morning, though, we're going to focus on the legislature and the executive, because this is where most of the lapover, the contentious lapover, happens. In the Westminster system, all members of the cabinet, or also with all members of the cabinet, which is like the head branch of the executive, because the executive is bigger than the cabinet. It involves government and its agencies, the police, and all of those form the executive. So the executive, the cabinet, is also a member of the legislature as well as a member of the executive. That's where the most of the contentious lapover lies. At one point in the UK, there was a lapover in the judiciary as well, where you have this title in the cabinet, Lord Chief Justice. The Lord Chief Justice used to be an MP, which is a member of the legislature. It is also a cabinet position, which is a member of the executive. And he was the head also of the judiciary, meaning that position, that person was crossing over into the three branches of government. But what Tony Blair did in his constitutional reform was remove that authority from the Lord Chancellor. The Lord Chancellor position still exists, but it's more of a caretaker role of the judiciary, because Tony Blair formed what was called the Judicial College, which deal with the appointment of judges, which that was done by the Lord Chancellor when being a member of all the three branches of government: legislature, executive, and judiciary. But because of how the Westminster system operates, there's always going to be a lapover. Andrew Mack, good morning and welcome. There's always going to be a lapover, Monica Hawthorne, with the executive and the executive and the legislature, because the prime minister forms, and everybody else in parliament is a member of the legislature. The cabinet is the head of the executive body of government. So for Nestor Morgan to want to deflect to say, I'm a member of the executive, no, Barbara Dunks. You're a member of the executive under the Westminster system, as well as member of the legislature. You're there making laws, Dunks back. So you operate in both capacity. But when you're on the podium of a press conference, you're acting in the capacity of the information minister, member of the executive. Look at TV. Good morning and welcome. It is quite a confusing system, Andrew. It's quite the Westminster model. It's quite a confusing system. So when you're acting in your debating capacity in parliament with regards to our law, you're a member of the legislature, as well you're a member of the government. It's how the Westminster system works, and you have to jostle both roles. So you can't use one Verna Adams. Ivani, good morning and welcome. So you can't use one of them to dodge question from the other when it suits you. You're a member of the legislature, as well as being an MP, as well as a member of the executive, being a member of the cabinet. No, the legal, no, let me go onto the American system first. SG, good morning and welcome. Let me take a quick break and join you back shortly. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us back. We are broadcasting this morning on our Global TV group, both and Producer Way Global TV, as well as Global TV 358 Studios. A lot of the problem Jason Kane, with the Westminster system of governance. It fosters a huge lot of corruption and nepotism between those two fractions. Especially when it comes to the Prime Minister appointing a cabinet. It's a hugely corrupt system. There's always that level of corruption between the legislature and the executive because of how the Westminster system works. What really works better, though, is the United States Republic system, the system of republic that the United States use. Separation of power is shown and understood and work more within that system. In the American system, Congress, House of Representatives, and Senate is the legislative body. Then you have the judiciary, which is the other branch of power. Then you have the executive, formed by the president and all of his different departments and secretaries and all of those different agencies. That's what forms the executive. So in the American system, there's a separation of the executive and the legislature, whereas that doesn't happen in the Westminster system that we use in Jamaica. So you have a better working system where you can say less corruption would involve because of the separation, where even though the president appoint his cabinet, Marcia McNeish, they're vetted by Congress. That's a check and balance to the power of the president, the executive. Also, there is, when the president also appoint judges, but the judges are vetted, have to be vetted by Congress before they can be appointed. So that's the executive, the legislature have a check and balance on the judiciary. When they now with the court now, the judiciary have a check and balance over the executive and the legislature. How they do that? If the president pass an executive order, then that can be challenged by the court. The court can strike it down, or the court can say it is in line with the Constitution. As well as there is also a balance of power over the legislature, where if Congress pass a bill, it can be tested in the court, and the court can strike it down for unconstitutionality, or allow it that it is that it contravenes with the Constitution. So there's much of a proper check and balance in the American system of governance, where that huge tied up is within the Westminster system, where the legislature and the executive, it's a continuous lap over, and that cycle breeds corruption, cronyism, nepotism, because your people under that system, you don't get appointed to top executive positions such as cabinet position because of your experience. You get appointed because of friendship and loyalty, or calming down an enemy combatant. But within the American system, Gloria Morris, within the American system, if you notice, when the president is appointing people, They rather go off the experience rather than it's because it's my friend, Shauna Smith. How are you? Morning and welcome. So it is one of the reasons, if Jamaica can get it right, I would want to remove away from the Westminster system, but not under this government. This government is not the one to rip up our system and change it. Hold on. Also, the cabinet secretary and president. Yes, they have to be vetted by Congress. So it's where the lapover happens in the separation of power in the United States is the check and balance. The Congress have power to check the members of the executive, the people who the president chooses as his cabinet people, as well as Congress has the power to check who get placed on the judiciary. As well as when you get on the judiciary, you have the power to check what Congress do, and you have the power to check what the executive, the president, and his cabinet and secretaries and agencies do. Beulah, good morning and welcome. Vinmore Johnson, good morning and welcome. So the separation of power, as much as I don't like it in the Westminster system, it can work until we have better. The issue we have is because we're operating in a very corrupt environment where even when good people get there, I remember I said Miss Mary Puss. They said Miss Mary Puss had good upbringing, and Nigel Clark become one of the most corrupt thieves in our governance system in quite a long time now. Sugar David, good morning and welcome. So that system exists when no matter how clean you go in there. There is the huge potential. There is a huge potential for you to become corrupt. And that is why the Westminster system really needs to change, because the huge overlapping of the executive and the legislature is causing a big problem within the governance structure of our country at the moment. It is why, Marlene Garden, good morning and welcome. It is why we have the wife of the Prime Minister as head of the legislature and the Prime Minister, the husband, as head of the executive. And it is really, really tearing down our governance structure, especially good governance structure. There's no independency in our parliament anymore. There's a toxic conflict of interest. Everything is going so bad in our parliament at the moment. The issue is the Prime Minister is not listening to the nation, because here Nestor Morgan say, are we and the PMP them? Are we and the PMP them depend on social media and stir up things? Did you hear him, Carlos? Are we and the PMP them and stir up things?
Works. The opinions, you will have a cursory understanding very shortly as well. The opinions of has some cursory understanding.
No. The opinion of the Attorney General. Any advice given by the Attorney General, any advice sought from any member of our government or parliament by the of government by the Attorney General, that advice is an advice to the nation, not an advice to the Jamaica Labour Party, not an advice to the executive. It is an advice to the nation. Everything Nesta said, it's lies, deflection, and misinformation. No, it is not the discretion. It is not the discretion of a dunce, backward, Bigfoot, burden, full of jealousy and pain and hate. Speaker of the House. It is the nation's business, not Julep business. We never ask about the land where Julep thief up yonder they saw on a bill, multi-million-dollar complex span. The thieving Speaker of the House of Jamaica, of the House of Representatives of Jamaica, the criminal, the illicit enriched Speaker of the House, which is under investigation for illicit enrichment. Because half of you make every time illicit go and you jump out of bath water. That wasn't what we're asking. It was an advice given to the nation. And Nesta Morgan come tell us, it's your good heart. Who does the People's National Party represent in Parliament? Who does the opposition represent in Parliament? Boo-boo chap, us, the people, dunce. Everything Nesta Morgan utter out time mouth is a lie.
Understanding of how government works. The opinions, you will have a cursory understanding very shortly as well. The opinions of the Attorney General was requested by the Speaker of the House, not by the opposition. The legal advisor to the Parliament is the Parliamentary Council. You have absolutely no obligation, Madam Speaker, to share an opinion from the Attorney General to the government, to the opposition. You may do it because of your good nature, but you have no such obligation. You started your question by saying in light of growing public outrage. I do not see any growing public outrage. I see members of the opposition and others seeking to stoke public outrage, right, which has not been stoked. The fact of the matter is the Speaker, previous Speaker, acted in a particular way. The current Speaker acted in a particular way. The current Speaker has articulated very clearly the reasoning behind her acting in that particular way. The other thing I want to say to you, the executive is separate from Parliament. The Minister of Information sits in the executive.
The executive is not separate from Parliament. No, it's not. The head of the executive is formed in Parliament, the Prime Minister and his cabinet. As I said earlier, the executive is much broader than that. It compasses all the government departments and agencies. But to say that Parliament is separate from the executive, it's a lie. It is a lie. You're an MP, you're also a member of the cabinet. Therefore, you are a member of the legislature and you are a member of the executive. Lord Jesus. Continue.
Parliament is a separate part of the governance structure. So it is very challenging for me, though I may offer an observation on a matter related to the administration and management of Parliament, as we are constantly accused by others of overstepping our limit and commenting on matters and merging the executive and the cabinet. So on one hand, you cannot say that there's a separation.
You see how it done? Merging the executive and the cabinet. Dummy, the cabinet is the head of the executive. Jesus Christ. Me couldn't see teacher fling duster in your face. Whole heap of time going to school, Nesta. Teacher have to fling duster in your face. Nothing when Nesta said no go so no here.
The executive is separate from Parliament. The Minister of Information sits in the executive.
the parliament is a separate part of the governance structure. So it is very challenging for me, though I may offer an observation on a matter related to the administration and management of parliament, as we are constantly accused by others of overstepping our limit and commenting on matters and merging the executive and the cabinet. So on one hand, you cannot say that there's a separation of powers, but then on the other hand, you're asking me to opine on an era that is a separate branch of government. It's actually unfair.
Me don't know where I talk about. Me just know where everything when say that. Did my explanation make sense to you, or have I confused you further, like Nesta Morgan? But what Nesta Morgan explained, Rose Daly, just now, what Nesta Morgan explained just now, it's either willful confusion, willful deflection, blatant lie, or just merely dumbness. Did I confuse you, or did I explain to you how the thing works? Because when Nesta speak, Nesta often confuse me. But to talk about merging the cabinet and the executive, that's a lie. The cabinet is the head of the executive. The job Juliet is doing, that job is for people who have legal training. You don't take up just about any boo-boo and put them up there, so. It's a hugely technical job where you need to understand not the dictionary word of the law, but the actual interpretation of what that law means. Juliet have what you would call in law the literal approach. She just read the words literally rather than read them in context or read them in line with other documents. This is how law is being read. It's not just reading where you sit in front of you. It have to be read in, a lot of the time, it have to be read in line with something else. Juliet's understanding is just based on the black and white word that is in front of her. And oftentimes, it's not how law is understood. In that way, you call it the literal approach or the literal meaning. But half the time, legal words and phrases doesn't carry the normally dictionary meaning. Either there's somewhere in the legislative framework, which is called the interpretations, that give meaning to word and phrase within that act. And if therefore there's such a huge contention within those areas, then take it to the court and let the court apply what is called statutory interpretation. Let the court apply statutory interpretation and tell us exactly what that particular law means, and how it should be read and understood. Hold on. So that's one of the things that should have been done from time with the contention in this law with Juliet, I have problem with where everybody sorry. Okay, let me try to explain to you how these statutory interpretation is and would be used to solve the problem that is going on in Parliament with the difference of understanding and interpretation and opinion of the law. In Juliet's case, what is her understanding here, or what she's applying here, is what you would call the literal rule. Now, the literal rule, you would use the plain English dictionary. The meaning of any word you see in that act, you would apply the meaning of what is the plain English dictionary to that rule. So that's the literal rule. So as for Juliet, understand it. But you have what is called the golden rule, which is a step up at looking at the issue, which would be more possibly appropriated in this era. Because Juliet Wholeness literal understanding is causing it's been observed and obnoxious. Then you would have to apply the golden rule, because Juliet literal rule very obnoxious in how we know the system used to work in Parliament. But the final stage of statutory interpretation that you would move up to is what was called the mischief rule. It's now rejigged and is called the purpositive rule. That's some word we can't call. But what the mischief rule would look at, what was the mischief that this law was trying to solve? The purpositive rule now would look at what was the purpose of this law. So in the statutory interpretation, this possibly would have been the more applicable one, because there is a mischief in the interpretation of that law in Parliament at the moment with this newfound incompetent, inept speaker. So therefore, the mischief rule or the purpositive rule would apply. What was the purpose of these standing orders or these sections or whatever? A 91. Good morning and welcome, Rena. Good morning. So this fluffing around in Parliament back and forth, the opinion of the Supreme Court, it is that one that will be final as opposed to the opinion of the governor, of the Attorney General. So it is high time that the People's National Party or interested group like Jamaicans for Justice or any one of the major rights or constitutional group can take this thing to court, or even any MP can take it to court for an opinion of the justices as to what is the correct interpretation of the law. Checking water into America is a problem as it only lasts a few days. It is never going to solve the problem until we have proper irrigation structure and proper distribution. It's irrigation and distribution is our problem across Jamaica. We have water. The issue is irrigation and distribution that is holding us back. And for me, when media grew up in the 80s, water distribution in my community was better than it is now. Because we did have all heap of standpipe, even though some of we never do have pipe in our yard and in our house like we have to the modern day. But the pipe them what we have in our house modern day and the water none of them. We did have all heap of standpipe in a parity right throughout the community, the different villages of our community. We did have all heap of standpipe. We did have a pump in our community because we have a river called Cassie River with a spring called Springhead, where we had, or the community had its own pump house, which was really making water distribution work then. And from the labor right them under tough done, come take out with pump. We don't, and we barely have water, and when we have it, we don't have no water pressure. And right in a community of parity, Hilltop, we have a river running through the community. We have spring in a community. Wicked Clyde Green and Christopher Tufton. Them there. They are mashing up our country deliberately. Nothing that you see happening in our country is any accident or mismanagement. It's all by design. Deliberate by design. Them just want to kill we off to sell off with prime land them to them rich private sector friend them. The fewer we where they want have left, and we have to come walk and clean up behind the rest of them. I just saw it go. I just saw it go. Who they not kill? Then we left few to look after them. But if we don't stand up, them not stop. And one thing I can guarantee and promise you, if we don't stand up, them not stop. Because they have a vested interest in not only controlling us, but control everything that God gave to us. But this current government is no longer tenable. The position of the Speaker of the House is no longer tenable. The position as the Information Minister is no longer tenable. The position of the Minister of Finance is no longer tenable. The position of the Minister of National Security is no longer tenable. The position of the Minister of Education is no longer tenable. The position of the Minister of Health is no longer tenable. Juliet Shakes, good morning and welcome. So we have a failed, collapsed government because half of the ministries, more than half of them, is there any working? Me talk about more than half. Now work. Is there any of the ministry in our country working? Don't be fooled, Jamaican. We must take still piss at them when them come talk to it about tourism. Tourism don't work for Jamaica. The only tourism work for Jamaica is through marketing. Tourism work for airline and hotel and those who close off with beach so we can't company. And them people the tourism work for. It don't work for the country. White people who own them hotel, them coop them money abroad. Them not save them money in a Jamaica. Them money not turn over in a Jamaica. So tourism really don't benefit Jamaica. It really doesn't. It benefits the private investors and the foreign investors with, as Mutabaruka would say, landlocked in a Jamaica. Because the amount of people own them private beach in a Jamaica. Soon we will be just walking around in the middle of Jamaica and can't touch the coastline. Even the workers, Lady J Love, they don't benefit either. It is all a foreign thing, a foreign people alone. A foreign people alone, Brenda, benefit land agencies helping to steal. Yes, a lot of them. Land agency and parish councils, Brenda, the parish councils, yes, them are thief as well. Because even in a even in a Portland there, you know how much parish council land Darrell, Vaza, and Vaz grab up for free or cheap. Prime beach land. Prime beach land in a Portland. Errol Clark, how are you? At them something they are going. Just like how you see them, I tell them friends, buy empty building, we will pay you to keep it empty. Hey, pay with money just go like a butter against sun. The problem though, there is no outrage from the people. Well, our beach in parity is still from the stretch of Black River come all the way up to the whole of parity. We're losing our beach though because the sea is coming in day by day. But our community of parity, it is a residential community. So them going to have to buck down the whole and we forget the beach that them now go get. Parity Beach is still free for anybody to access because it's a residential community. That's the whole stretch of beach, the Verna Timpson. Good morning and welcome. That whole stretch of beach is a residential. So that's probably going to be one of the last free beach left in Jamaica because no one are down there so for them come by and close off because it's purely residential along that stretch of Southwest St. Elizabeth there. So it shall be we and them the day them try to provoke we for we beach. It shall be we and them. But Jamaicans need to stand up and start take back their beaches and start the demand land reform. And if government no give you land, go take land. If government don't want to come have the land reform conversation with you, go take land. Because when for them private investor friend them come doing Hutchinson, how are you? When the private investor them come, they get it for little and nothing. And then when them employ Jamaicans, them only employ Jamaicans at the service level. Them not employ Jamaicans at the board level and at the management and executive level. Them only want to employ at the service level if you work in a restaurant, kitchen, bar, stewardess and steward and all of them something there. Jamaicans not benefit with them meager salary there without working rights. Jamaicans are not benefit, even those diaspora diva. Good morning, how are you? Even those who are working in the tourism industry, they are not benefiting. They are not benefiting. It's about the private sector. Tourism money not circulate in a Jamaica because when it going to rich white people account, it going to them foreign holdings and them wealth creation. Have you seen these tourist people then are investing in Jamaica healthcare and all of them something there or any useful or worthwhile training to train people up to the management, executive, and board position, to train Jamaicans up to those positions. Colin Jones, good morning and welcome. You know, since a fool then take with her. Big fool them take with her. We not earn nothing out of tourism. No matter about tourism is a lie. Tourism is about white people and private investors. That white people earn out of Jamaica tourism. Go look who own the hotel them. Go look who you have to pay to go on your beach them. Beat and teach. Well. Go look who you have to pay for all-inclusive holiday. Jamaica not benefit not out of tourism. What the Jamaica economy may be benefiting out of tourism is the little local spending. Is the little local spending when the tourists them go go outside of the inclusive resorts. Kazmata Rhythm Killers, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. The whole Jamaica Labour Party fleet need to go, not just Nesta. There is a wealth of corruption and incompetency and inexperience and neglect that is going on in government at the moment. It is alarming. The wife of the Prime Minister has changed how the system of the Speaker of the House work. Them contention where we have pan the chair at the moment, not even when Marissa Dalrymple they did it. Them something never happened. Because Marissa Dalrymple Filbert is a lawyer, Miss Phil Wilple, as I call her. Miss Phil Wimple is a lawyer. Therefore, she understands standing orders and legislation when she reads them. Demia kaman butuya. Demia dishcloth. Conton tablecloth overnight. Demia outer door foot mat were elevated to rug in front of sofa. When Nesta Morgan was hungry, but no Nesta Morgan thief and stuff. So every time Nesta Morgan talk to you and can grin our town, we don't need Nesta Morgan neck to use as a yardstick anymore. Because Nesta Morgan feed, thief and feed, and full up him neck. The governance structure in our country has been broken. Under this authoritarian, dictatorial, despot regime, it's not a government, it's a regime. Jeanette McIntosh, good morning and welcome. Under this regime, our democracy has become under attack. Our constitution has come under attack. Our rights has come under attack. Our legislative process, the system of good governance or governance in general, has come under serious attack, particularly over the last 3 years since the 2020 general election. Attack after attack on our rights, our constitution, good governance. Our country is breaking down, people. Government cannot be returned to power if we cannot get rid of them before September 2025, this government cannot be returned to power. If this government is returned to power, a government that has taken the Electoral Commission into its office, a government which has taken the political ombudsman into its office, a government who, in the Westminster system, the head of committees of parliament are member of the opposition. This government sought to remove that, given cabinet committee head lead to his cronies. There is nowhere of good governance that this current regime has not attacked. If you allow them, it's only going to get worse. If we do not stand up and push back, they will only come more forceful. Remember, this is the government that sends its police officers to draw one from under bed on camera. We should have all seen where it was going from then. It has got significantly worse since. The problem is there is no outrage coming from the people. Here Nesta Morgan said, "I'm not seeing any outrage at the opposition and others, mainly vloggers, I try to stoke." Good morning, Pauline Robinson. How are you? I try to stoke outrage. It means that they have very little regards for what we're saying across the nation and across the diaspora with regard to this breakdown of governance in our parliament. The taking over of our system of governance by one family member. They are not hearing us. Nesta said there's no outrage. None whatsoever. We're just stoking it to make it look like the government bad. That's what Nesta Morgan would have you believe. But me got market this morning, go get few fish. And me go cook me steamed fish and crackers with pumpkin and carrot now and okra. So, thank you all for being here with us on the Global TV group this morning. And remember, we have merged everything under the one Global TV brand. So the channel that was Forbes Legal Opinion is now Global TV 358 Studios. Thank you all very much for being here this morning. We will definitely see you back here later. Thanks very much for your company and good morning, good afternoon from Global Television. Stacey, how are you?